We're about to discover how healing your inner child can help you create a deeper and more meaningful connection in your marriage. Now, this is part of Pillar 3 of the Awesome Relationship Code that's all about forgiveness and healing yourself and your relationship so you can have more inner peace and happier relationships. Now, what most frustrated wives do is repeat unresolved issues from their childhood into their current marriages. This is kind of what I call the toddler brain. It sneaks up in our relationships. We often marry someone who is similar to one of our parents in hopes that we will be able to correct what we were missing in our childhood. Let me give you an example of this. I was talking with a client and she was telling me how her husband wasn't supporting her emotionally or physically. I asked her, were your parents supportive? She started tearing up and she said, no. The only time I ever remember my mom being there for me emotionally is when I broke my ankle in fifth grade. Subconsciously, she may have married this man in hopes that he would give her the support that she needed, that she never received from her parents. Does this mean that her marriage is hopeless? No, this is actually a good thing because we discovered why she needed so much support from her husband and why it hurt so much when he didn't support her in the way that she wanted it. When we really dug in, she noticed that he actually did support her in very many ways and was there for you. But the times that he didn't really triggered her and stuck out to her because it reminded her of how her mother never supported her. And once we were able to do some inner child work, she was actually finally able to receive the support from her husband, and intimacy started to bloom. She got rid of her inner child hurts, and it saved her marriage. Frustrated women keep trying the same old patterns to get what they didn't get in their childhood, and they're consistently get triggered, and it brings up hurts and distance in the marriage. And in order to not get triggered, they try to make their husbands, their spouses support them in the way that they want, right? They try to control their partners. They try to change their partners. But all of this leads to growing distance and separation in the relationship. So today I want to help you understand how your inner child could be hurting your marriage and how you can start to heal that inner child and finally get rid of the triggers and pain that might be interfering with your marriage and your ability to create more connection and intimacy in your relationship with your partner and honestly in the relationship with yourself. Because when you work with your inner child, you can stop living from the fear of hurt, of abandonment, and instead move through feelings and triggers with ease and a sense of calm and protection, knowing that you are safe. The first step is to examine how your inner child feels about love. You learned what you know about love from watching your parents or your caregivers. Did you have a parent who had an affair and now you equate love to betrayal? Did you have a parent who yelled when they fought and that means love? Right? You'll continue to repeat patterns you learned until you become aware of them. So start by asking some simple questions. What was your parents' relationship like? How did it make you feel? What did you like or not like about? So when you're able to become aware of some of the patterns or beliefs that you're bringing into your own marriage from childhood, then you're able to start changing them because you can't change anything if you're not aware of it. Am I right? All right. So second, I want you to look at your relationship and notice any specific times when you feel triggered, right? That time when your husband asked you to, if you took out the trash and you're like, what? Of course I did. Come on. It's these silly times that we just feel so angry and we can't really put or frustrated or annoyed and we can't put our finger on why it shouldn't have annoyed me that much, right? This will likely show up as anxiety, fear, anger. Do you get angry when your partner goes out at night with his friends? Do you feel fear or feel the need to hide when yelling happens? When you get very clear on your triggers, you may notice a relationship to how these are actually attached to childhood situations. For example, if your father left when you were young, you might have some fears of abandonment. And so every time your spouse isn't laying next to you in the morning, even if they just went to get some coffee, you feel panic. And this is all related. Notice these times and see how they're connected to past hurts or past patterns from your childhood. Notice how you are using your past to determine a current situation rather than for what it really is. In other words, because you were hurt in the past, you're assuming you'll be hurt again, or that your husband or spouse will act just like your father did, or that you'll act just like your mother did. When you start to notice how the two aren't truly connected, that was then, this is now, your fear, anger, anxiety will start to dissipate. Your husband is not your parent. You'll start to feel more calm in your body and in your relationship. Next, you want to be compassionate and kind to your inner child. Ask your inner child, what needs did you not get from childhood that they're now trying to get from their current relationship? Frustrated wives expect their partners to meet all of their inner child needs. If they didn't feel accepted and loved, then they expect that their partner will always make them feel loved, instead of creating the inner acceptance and love here first. These expectations that we put on our partners just isn't fair to you or to your partner. It's not your partner's job to meet all of your inner child's needs. You have to meet your own needs of love and compassion first, and then your partner just gets to add to it. When you learn how to have compassion for your inner child, for yourself, and understand the needs of your inner child, you start to meet those needs for yourself, which opens you up to intimacy and vulnerability in your relationship so that you can create the true connection and safety that you truly desire. So I just broke down 3 powerful steps that you can start to take to understand how your inner child is currently showing up in your marriage. But it doesn't do you any good if you don't have the tools to actually heal this inner child. If you can't locate where these hurts are showing up in your relationship. So if you want to learn more about this, then I invite you to save your seat for a free workshop that's coming up soon in the next couple of weeks, where I'm going to be diving into the tools I use to help my clients free themselves of the hurt inner child so that they can stop being triggered in their relationships and finally create intimacy and connection. So just go to valeriekolick.com/workshop and get on the wait list so you'll be the first to know.